Good morning, everybody. Today we are talking about the best truck for a lawn care business. Truck, van, SUV, whatever you're going to use. So stay tuned. We're going to start that right now. All right, so we're going to talk about best truck, SUV that you can use when you start a lawn care business. Definitely start a lawn care business. I highly recommend it. It's so much fun. It's quite easy to do. There's a lot of competition, but you'll learn so much and you'll grow so much from doing it. I highly recommend it. It's something that you guys would do. And for most of you, you're going to need a truck to do it. What's really nice about a truck is you can get started and you won't need a trailer. You can just throw your mower in the back. You can throw your rakes and your weed whackers and all that stuff in the back of your truck. You can also do that with an SUV. It can get a little bit more complicated and not really look so good when it comes to pulling up to a customer's yard. But when you're first starting out, you gotta use what you gotta use. And that's my first tip. Use what you have. If you got a car, if you got an SUV, if you got a, like when I first started years ago, I used a Ford Edge, which is an SUV. And I used a push mower, a Toro push mower, and the gas cap actually leaked. So it was kind of horrific driving around, but I didn't have that many yards. When I first started out, I had one person who called me when he wanted his yard mowed. And then I mowed my grandma's yard, which was an entire acre. I used a push mower, not fun. Used an entire, I mowed her whole yard with that. And when I first started out, I was more or less just learning what I was trying to do. So keep that in mind. I guess we'll look at it from two different perspectives. Like somebody who doesn't necessarily have that much money, maybe we'll say like $5 grand for a truck. I know you guys are like, that's a lot, but I mean, come on here. It's 2024. It's hard to find stuff for cheap these days. Or somebody who's just maybe has the possibility of buying it on credit. Maybe you're in your 30s and you're looking and wanting to start. So if you don't necessarily have too much money, you just got $5 grand or whatever laying around, obviously Facebook Marketplace is going to be the best thing for you. If you are somewhat mechanically inclined, I would say go ahead and go with some older stuff that you would be able to fix pretty easily, like an F-150 or like a 1500 or a Ram, something on that smaller side. But, and here's a big but, I would do the best I can to try to get at least 4 doors. Does it have to be a crew cab? Not necessarily. You can get away with an extended cab. Crew cabs are just nice because when you run a lawn care business, you are going to have things that you can put back there. For instance, maybe you wanted another helper or 2 helpers, but you can also put like backup tools back there. You can also put other things back there too, not necessarily just your lawn care stuff. Like if you have family things, like if you want, like for dogs or children or stuff like that, you have that versatility to use. So, and the reason why I say 1500 is because I have 2 giant Wright Stander ZKs that both weigh about 1,000 pounds apiece, and a couple other things on my trailer that probably, if you add them all up, are about 400, 500 pounds. So, and I have my trailer, and my trailer is an 18-foot trailer. It's 7 feet wide, 18 feet long. It's a big trailer. It weighs 2,200 pounds. So then you add the 2 mowers on there. So now you're up to 4,200 pounds plus all the excess stuff. We'll just round it up and say about 5,000. I have a Ford F-150. It's a 2018. It's a Ford F-150, and it has no problems pulling my truck or pulling my trailer. So, but the thing is when you're first starting out, you are not going to be nowhere near as big as I am. You're not going to have 2 giant mowers. You're not going to have 60 accounts throughout the week. Like, you are just going to have 5 clients max, maybe. That's good if you have 5 clients going into your first year. So use that $5,000, get yourself on Facebook Marketplace and find yourself a nice, good You don't need leather seats. You don't need heated seats. You don't need all that fancy stuff. You just need a work truck, something that's going to get you through the first 2 years. And if you can get it for less than $5,000, fantastic. I would highly recommend you stay away from diesel. The gas is so much more expensive. It really is. Like here, it's almost $2 more for a gallon per diesel. And you're going to use gas in your truck a lot. It's a big expense going through that. So keep that in mind. Also, 1500s are great. When you're first starting out, if you plan on staying solo, if you plan on being a weekend warrior or something like that, like you could get a smaller truck too. If you only plan on pulling like a little small 6x10 utility trailer or even smaller than that, and it doesn't weigh that much, single axle, you can use like an S10 or a Ford Ranger or a Toyota Tacoma. Like you can use all those things. The Tacoma is probably going to run you a little bit more money, but it's going to be reliable, which is great when you're talking about trying to run a business and be profitable. It's going to be good for you. Now, I know for a fact you can find a truck in that $5,000 range. I could almost guarantee you could find something decent in that $3,000 range. And if you're mechanically inclined and you kind of understand what you're doing and how to fix things, I would go for the cheaper version of the truck, because then you could spend more on your equipment, like your weed whackers, your leaf blowers, and so on and so forth. And those of you that are thinking about getting a loan, you got to ask yourself, how many clients do I have? Is it worth it? Like if you have 3-4 clients, like can you get a loan for a vehicle? Absolutely. Does it need to be $80,000? No. You just something small. Like let's say you found a truck on Facebook Marketplace and it's like $8,000, $9,000, but it's beautiful. You love it. It's going to work good for your company. That's great. Call 3, 4, 5 different local credit unions in your area and start asking them like, hey, what are your rates going right now for this, that, and the other? And then when you find a really good rate, fill out the application, see if you get approved. If you get approved, great, move forward. And then don't forget to document all that, because you can use all that stuff for write-offs. You can write off the whole purchase of the truck. When you're first starting out, I would kind of lean more towards what works best for you. I did see a lot of people talk about V8s versus V6s. If you can find a V6 with a tow package, go for it. Like I said, gas is a huge expense. So if you're saving yourself $30, $40, $50 a week in gas because you went with the V6 instead of the V8, like there are some trucks out there that are getting 8-9 miles a gallon when you start hooking up these trucks and putting your trailer on there. Like that's not okay. that you got to ask yourself, like, I made $400 this week, but I just spent $300 of it in gas. Like, dude, come on. Be smart. You're trying to run a business here. Before you buy a truck, you need to ask the person who you're buying it from if you can bring it to a licensed, a state licensed shop to get inspected. They usually cost anywhere between like $30 and $80, and they're game changers because those state licensed ones, they go through that thing with a fine-tooth comb. Like they check everything. They check all the seals, the exhaust, the brake lines, the fluids, Carfax, all that stuff, because they need to, because they are licensed through the state. And it'll be the best $50 you ever spent. It'll just make sure that you're good to go. You'll stop yourself from buying a truck that has a major problem that you didn't see or that the seller didn't disclose. So keep that in mind when you're buying your truck. Also, keep in mind, like, do you have a $5,000 budget for your entire build? If that's the case, then maybe you need to bring your truck down just a little bit more. Or maybe you have an aunt or an uncle or somebody who can loan you one of their trucks or vehicles. I know it's a stretch, but sometimes you just have to ask yourself, like, oh, my uncle's got a plow truck that he doesn't use during the summer. Like, maybe if I paid him $200 a month, he'll let me use his truck. That's a good idea, because he's literally not. I mean, my father-in-law, for instance, has a plow truck. It's a Chevy Colorado, and it just parks. It doesn't get used. He only uses it for plowing. Literally, if I asked him, like, hey, can I use your plow truck and I'll pay you $150, $200 a month to use it, he would definitely say yes. It's just sitting there not doing anything anyway. So keep that in mind. Good idea, bad idea. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below in the comment section. Thank you all so much for watching. Oh, before I go, If you want to see my latest video, click this right here, this guy right here, this video that's in this box. And then if you want to subscribe to the channel, it's super easy. Just press this button right here. Press on the picture you see. Press it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Peace.